My last drink of coffee went all down my face. Do you ever have that happen? Luckily, it wasn't super hot, but it was still blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, not acceptable for beginning a video. Sharon here today with part 3 of the stack. Pajama Gramma Expert Secrets Coaching Masterclass. Secret number 15, part 3, the stack. The stack part 3. Now we're getting into, we've shared the deal, we've shared all the slides, we've broken it down for them exactly what they're going to get. Now we're going to go into what I like to think of the closing statements. And it's not necessarily what Russell or anyone else calls them, but that's how I like to think of them. And the parts and the persuasion parts that are really critical to making this whole thing work and making it more successful for you. Whether you're doing a live webinar, whether you're doing a stage speech, whether you're just talking to somebody one-on-one, you can incorporate some of these things. And after you do it enough, some of them just come to you naturally. And you'll know exactly when to use what part of what we're going to learn now and what we're going to go over now. And again, I will break this down and we'll script the whole thing out. I know it's a slightly different way of doing it. It's a different way than I've ever done it before. I've never actually typed out or written out the whole script before. I've just never done that. But I've been doing a lot of presentations over my career. So I felt like if I just have a slide, I know what to say with it. But I'm actually making myself with you script this out for a particular new webinar that I'm doing. So part 3, we are going to start on page... Handy dandy magnifying glass. I need you. Page 190. So on page 190, we're going to start with the if-all statements. These are so powerful. And the key with them is to have one if-all statement that goes along with each major false belief of your presentation previously. So you'll have an if-all statement for the vehicle false beliefs. You'll have an if-all statement for the internal false belief. And you'll have an if-all statement that goes and kind of coincides with the external false belief. So for example, Russell says, and I'm going to type up and use these blanks because I think they're really good for our scripting. An if-all statement reads like this. If all this package did was blank, would it be worth whatever the total price of your stack is? So for example, Russell's is $11,552. So you want to ask them questions that get them to believe and actually know and say yes to, yes, it's worth $11,552 for me to get this result. Yes, with respect to the vehicle, the new opportunity. Yes, it's worth $11,552 for me to get this result that negates my internal belief. So usually it's the I can't do it belief. What are you giving them and what secret have you revealed to them throughout your whole presentation that makes them believe that they can get that result and they can do it? That's the second if-all statement. And the third if-all statement is something to do with the external belief that it says, and what if all this did was blank, related to secret number 3, and which is also related to the external false belief, would it be worth it? This is probably one of the most, and not the most, but one of the most powerful slides in here because it gets people saying, yes, it's worth almost $12,000. And psychologically then, when you drop the price to what it really is, it feels to them like they've gotten a 90% discount. We love to be persuaded logically, or we actually buy based on emotion, and then we justify it with logic. So if one party in a couple makes a big purchase decision and they got a super good discount on it, just because they got a super good discount on it is how they justify it logically to their significant other. Have you ever done that? Have you ever had to do that? I am so guilty of that, it's not even funny. I might be part of why I'm divorced. Then we go into, after we do the if-all statements, then we let them know, hey, not yet. We don't do that yet. We're not revealing the price yet. So after the if-all statements, we go into the I had 2 choices close. Some of these are sprinkled in types of closes. So the I had 2 choices closes gets them to agree that, yes, you should charge them more money. How cool is that? Yeah, you could have made it really cheap and you could have charged me $20 like a book at the bookstore, but that wouldn't have been much value and I would have had to figure everything out on my own. But now you're adding all this other cool value. So yes, I want you to charge me more money so that you give me all these cool, valuable things. They're going to make sure that I can be more successful. After that, we're going to anchor the price to the end result, because our objective is to get them the end result. Their objective is to get the end result. They don't necessarily care how we get them there as long as we get them there and they are confident that we can get them there. So we want to future pace with them and paint a picture of, well, what will the future look like when you get this result? And we ask them a couple of questions. So if you had a successful blank, and blank is whatever the result is that they want, the result that you're promising, the result that you're going to help them get. If you had a successful online business in your pajamas, what would that be worth to you? If you had a successful funnel, what would that be worth to you? If you had a successful, or if you were successfully being a natural mom and a mystical mom, leading your kids in the spiritual practices, that's way too long-winded, sorry. In the practices that you want, if you were being that person that you really are, hint, hint, what would that be worth to you? If you could actually be yourself and live your life on your own terms, what would that be worth to you? That's way too generic, but you get the idea. If you could do whatever you wanted when you wanted and you didn't care what other people think, what would that be worth to you? So you want to make one toward the vehicle, one toward the internal beliefs, and one toward the external beliefs. Again, Russell gives samples in the book, which are always better than my examples. But I do some, but I also have to consider, is this proprietary and I really shouldn't share other people's stuff? But you know what? There's no competition in the world. If you're just being yourself, there is no competition. But that's not up to me for clients. It's not up to me whether I share their stuff or not. It's up to them. So I can only share and make up my own examples, or the things that I've used. I can't use other people's examples who I've worked with unless I get their express permission, and I haven't done that. And could I? Yes, but I don't feel right about it. And so if I get a little inkling that I don't feel right about it, then I'm not going to share it. Then we're going to do the price drop, and we're going to compare that to, number one, we've already anchored it and compared it to our total 10 times value price, right? So $11,552 or whatever yours is, say around $12,000 or $10,000 if you're doing a $997 product. If you're doing a $500 product, it should probably be worth about $5,000. So you kind of get the idea. 10 times whatever the price is that you're selling is what you want to build the value up to in their mind and then drop the price. And we want to say, you can see why people pay blank for a similar result from me. Because it's not a cost, it's an investment. That is a powerful statement. And I don't think I use it often enough or coach my people to use it often enough in their proposals, which is part of why I am actually scripting this out and wanted to script this out, because I think there's little nuances and little bitty phrases and pieces and things that Russell does. And when we listen to them, he does them so fast we don't even notice them. But by calling them out here, it's things like this one that I'm putting a question mark by, because I'm wondering, did I actually say that in my presentation? I think I say a variation of it, but this is a more powerful way of saying it, and that's part of why I want to script the whole thing out, and then I'll create the slides this time. And then we do our price drop. And one of the most important things about the price drop, I think, is you got to give them a reason. You have to give them a reason why you're giving them a discount. And it can be anything as simple as, hey, because I'm talking to you today. Hey, I'm feeling generous today. Hey, because you're on this webinar listening to this and you obviously are a go-getter and want to learn. Whatever is sincere and whatever feels right to you. Hey, because I like your sweater. And if it's sincere, that can be a good enough reason. They did a study, and I'm big on reading and stuff, and I don't remember which book I read it in, but I know they did a study of college students. And the experiment was college students butting in line at a drinking fountain. And they tested whether people got mad or whether they'd let you break in line or not based on if you gave a reason or not. And if you didn't give a reason, people were 90% more likely to say no and not let you butt in line. But if you just said a reason like, because I'm in a hurry, or because I'm really thirsty, or any inane reason at all, or because I'm late for class, it didn't matter what the reason was, but there was a 90% higher chance that the person would let you cut in line. And I always remember that study when I think of things that we forget. You have to explain to people why, because otherwise there's this disconnect in their mind. It's like, okay, well, if it's really worth $12,000, why the heck would you sell it to me for $1,000? Because people were skeptical. We don't believe that people are just giving us a good deal, or they're really stacking on the value and giving us a good deal. So we have to tell them, well, okay, this is why we're doing it. This is why we're dropping the price for you today. Or whatever the reason is. Maybe this is your first group going through the program. So they're your test beta group, and you want to give them a super duper discounted price on the product because they're going to actually help create it with you. You don't tell them that part, but that's why. Then we go to our call to actions. Oh, actually, when we do the price drop and we do the price drop slide, from that slide on, we're going to have our call to action on every slide. Now, what's a call to action? Push the button below. Message me. Apply below. Whatever it is for your offer. Go to a certain website. Do a certain thing. Whatever it is you want them to do, you've got to call it out and spell out exactly what you want them to do. And for our purposes, it's usually we have them go to a link where they can see our offer page for our product or for our offer. Because remember, it's not just a product, it's an offer. We have our whole offer stack. So we get them to do that. And then we go to another close, which is now you've got two choices. Remember we did hey, I had two choices when I was creating this. Now that's kind of an open loop. So now we tie that in. It's not really an open loop, but it feels a little bit like it. And this is why this close is so good here. Now we do hey, you have two choices. You can invest this little bit of money, or you can do nothing. You can do nothing and your life will stay exactly the same. Or you can invest this little bit of money and voila, you will get the result you want. Then we offer our guarantee, and you can read all these pages and actually go along with the script, and you'll get all these components written out for your offer and for your presentation. The guarantee is actually slide number 62 on this. And then after that, he asks the real question slide. And the real question is, the reason he adds this slide is to make the choice for them really, really simple. And it's really just to help them make a decision and justify it with logic. The next slide is then that's even if this does half of what I've claimed it will do today. And I actually combine that with my guarantee slide, but you don't have to, but that's how I've done it in the past. But I might break that out and do it separately here because he does it differently here. So I might do it, as I'm writing the script, I'm going to do it exactly how he does it in the book. And then the last slide, slide 64, is your stack slide again. It's your restack everything. Every time you show that stack slide in your presentation, and it's going to feel weird at first. I'm going to tell you, it's going to feel weird. But after you start doing it and you see how effective it is and you do it over and over and over again, you will do it exactly like this every single time. You will read every item on it, emphasizing the total value every single time. And then the last thing we need to do or not the last slide, but the next thing we're going to do is add urgency and scarcity. And a lot of us have a hard time with creating urgency and scarcity. But the fact of the matter is, if we do not create urgency and scarcity, people won't do anything. They are inundated with so many things, and even if they watch your whole webinar, they love every bit of it. They know it's exactly for them. If they don't pull the trigger on your webinar or at your presentation or at your event, the chance of them doing it is slim to none. It's almost zero. So you have to get them to take action. And the only way to get people to take action is to offer them bonuses and special benefits that are only available if they are fast action takers. If they take action now, they get the bonus. And what Russell does and what I do is I offer bonuses for people that are on the event live. If they're at my live event, if they're listening to me speak and they act now, or if they are on the live webinar only, I offered them a special bonus. And then on the replay, they hear about the bonus, but they don't get it if they're only on the replay, because that trains people and encourages people that are exposed to me to come back and know that if I'm making an offer, they want to be on the live webinar because I'm going to offer my best, coolest bonuses only to the people that are live. And everybody else gets to hear about them, but they don't get to take advantage of them because they weren't on the live event. And that creates massive urgency and scarcity because they know that, and I'm consistent with that. If I say the bonuses are only available on the live event, they're only available on the live event. Now, I have forgotten to say that once, and so then I had to honor them for the replay people, but I never did it again because the results are so much better by not having it be available to the replay people. And then the final slide, our closing slide, is on page 198. And it's a hodgepodge slide of the recap of the offer, a countdown timer, which you can get on YouTube, the price, and then a call to action. And Russell used to actually end his presentation as soon as he shared the price. And all of this comes after. Because once you have that slide up, you're going to leave that slide up and do a question and answer period. Now, I think Russell did that live for like 50 times or 50 live webinars, and then he started to see all the patterns in the questions. So he just created a whole question and answer series where he answered everybody's questions, all the usual questions that came up every time. And after you do your webinar about actually 3 or 4 times, you already know the major questions and objections that are going to come up every time that you want to answer in this question and answer period for people. Now, what I do is I actually go back and I build a lot of those questions and answers into my presentation up front. And I'll answer them in the stories I tell or the epiphany bridges that I share as I'm presenting the rest of the speech or webinar or presentation. I'll build some of those in, but I will still also go ahead and call them out here in the question and answer period because I know that I might have answered it, but somebody might have missed it, and they might still have this question at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and answer it, even though I also went back and built it into my presentation. That's part of us continually improving and listening to the people and incorporating what they need into what they ask for, but also incorporating what they want, because what they're asking for is what they want, and incorporating that into the whole presentation and into my offer. We have to be a little fluid with these things. We can't be married to them. So that is it. And we also use the phrase there with questions and answering that you're probably thinking blank, right? You're probably thinking that, and whatever, this is too expensive. You're probably, and hopefully they don't have that one, but you're probably thinking, do I have a payment plan? That's one I talk about in every one of mine. You're probably wondering, do we have a payment plan? You're probably thinking, do we have a payment plan? Because I don't really want to dump all my money into this right now, depending on what the price of your offer is. Or whatever their main objections are, you're going to answer them here. Whatever the questions are that come up for you, answer those questions here because that saves you so much time and energy. Plus, it will convert people. If they just had one burning question and you've answered it, boom, that's enough usually to have them say, yes, I do understand that this is going to help me and I'm going to buy now because I want those fast acting bonuses. That's it for the stack. That's it for today. I know this is a lot. I know it's a lot to script it all out because I'm doing it too and I'm way behind on it. So that is a painful but true confession. Tomorrow we're going to hop into trial closes, and then we're going to actually, with our script, we're going to go back and we're going to start sprinkling in the trial closes. We're going to spend 2 days on trial closes. They're that important. And we'll go back over 2 days and sprinkle them into the script that we've just written. Sound good? Awesome. Have a great day. I will talk to you tomorrow or whenever you listen to the next lesson.